In our last video, we saw how to declare variables in VBA. That style of variable declaration is called implicit variable declaration, where we just drop in the name of the variable and assign a value to it without using any special features provided by the language. Implicit variable declaration is not good. It has some issues which are quite critical. In this video, we will see what those issues are and the features that language provides to alleviate those issues. The first feature we are going to discuss in this video is option explicit, and the other feature is the dim statement. So let us go to the Visual Basic editor. In module 1, I have this macro, implicit variables. And the first problem that we see is we cannot say how many variables are declared in this code. You can see one variable is this student name, and it is assigned a value somebody. And the other one is teacher, which is assigned the value nobody. So you can see the problem right away. If in this small body of code, it is difficult to see where the variables are declared, then you can imagine if the code was of 100 lines, how difficult it would be to debug it. So the first problem in this code is that you cannot say for sure which one of these statements is a variable declaration statement, because variables are scattered all over the place. In this code, there are two if statements, and the first if statement checks to see whether the first 4 characters of this name is sum. If it is sum, then it goes into this branch of the code and shows message box, you are right. And the second if statement checks 2 conditions. One is if the first 4 characters of the student name are sum, and the second condition it checks is if the teacher's name is nobody, then it does these 2 lines of code. Otherwise, it does this line of code. So here the first 4 characters are sum. So this condition is satisfied, and teacher is also nobody. So the second condition is also satisfied. So it should run these 2 lines of code and should show a message box which shows the name of the teacher and the name of the student. Let us see how it works. So I will run the macro from here, and the shortcut is F5. So it shows us the first message box, which is correct, you are right. And then it shows the name of the teacher, which is missing. It's a problem. And it shows the name of the student, which is shown correctly here. But the point is that the name of the teacher is missing. And let us see why is that. So if we look deeply, we can see that there is a spelling mistake here. And this is that spelling mistake. So that is why it's not showing the value of this variable. It is declaring another variable by this name, and since that variable is assigned nothing or blank, it doesn't show anything in the message box. So all those spelling mistakes are a terrible problem, and if there are implicit variables in your code, you always run that risk of spelling mistakes. Let me show you another issue with this code. So if I go here and type student name, all in small case, and move from that line, all the student name references are changed to small case. And that is another issue. If I have named it like this, so each word of the variable is in capital case, it should not destroy that. But if we have declared implicit variables, it does that, and that is another issue. The third issue is if we try to type a few characters of the variable and press Ctrl spacebar, it should show me the name of the variable here. If it was declared properly, it would have shown here, but in this case, since the variable is declared implicitly, it doesn't show me the name of the variable in this list. So is there a solution to all these problems? Well, there is. The first solution is option explicit, which is always written as the first line of your code in the module. you cannot write this option explicit statement inside a macro or somewhere else. So for example, if I type it here and try to compile the code, it will not accept that. So this statement comes in the first line of code only in the module. What is the benefit of option explicit? So now if you try to run the code, it gives you an error before running the code. When it goes to compile it, it finds this error and it highlights it. It says variable is not defined. So option explicit highlights all those errors which we have introduced in our code using implicit variable declaration. What we can do is use the dim statement to declare our variable. Dim is the shortcut or short form of dimension. We are dimensioning memory here, so we write dim. And if we write dim student name, there are a couple of benefits of this. First, when we run the macro, it doesn't show error on student name because it is properly declared now. It shows the next variable error and it says teacher is not declared. So if we declare teacher also and run the macro again, then it shows this error, and here we find that we have made a spelling mistake. We wanted to write teacher and we have written the wrong spelling, so we will correct it. And because this option explicit and dim is there to declare our variables, it helps us during design time to catch all our errors and fix them. So the errors do not go to the user, they are handled during design time only. So if I correct the spelling and run the code again, it runs properly. So let us run it. And it says you are right. And this time it gives you the name of the teacher properly. It's only that there is a space missing between nobody and is, which we can easily fix by giving it a space here and bring our arrow back to the line and run it again, and now it is fine. So you can see while debugging my code, these two statements helped me a lot, and I was able to find out all my errors and variable declarations in the code. So it makes sense to use the dim statement to declare all your variables at the top of the macro. Here you can see that I have declared two variables in this macro, and option explicit has made sure that whatever variable I use in the macro, I declare them properly. I hope that exercise was helpful for you to understand the dim statement and the option explicit statement. If you are liking these videos, please like and share the videos and also subscribe to my channel.